America 2030. 6 a.m. You wake up to your temple implant alarm IS node. Really wish you could change that alarm tone, but don't have the IS credits to spare. Get up and get dressed by the light of the McDonald's hollow advertisement playing outside your 236th floor window. Hash browns, limited time only while supplies last. Looks good. Your company jumpsuit is sticky from the night before. No time for that now. On the way out, you see your son, Zer6933, getting dressed for work in front of his company neuro-automated rape machine. Bondage strap and ball gag. It must be after 10 p.m. in China, you think to yourself. You eke out, "Have a good day, Xiao." Without looking, he claps twice and the door slams in your face. Elevator still broken, it looks like. You take the stairs. 20 minutes later, shoes covered in urine and feces. You exit the stairwell. You find your car with 2 IS officers standing around it. Break into a panic. Your IS node immediately alerts officers to your emotional state while projecting a red exclamation point hologram above your head. Without pause, the female IS officer tasers you. The last thing you remember is the feeling of hunger elicited by the smell of the taser burning your flesh. You wake up in the gutter outside of your apartment building with a note pinned to your chest. The note is written in Hebrew and you can't read it. IS Node Translate tells you your car was impounded when you failed to meet your IS insurance payments for the 5th consecutive minute that morning. It's 7:30. You're gonna be late. You have to take the subway. Thankfully, there's a station only 27 blocks away. An hour later, you arrive at the station stairwell. I'm so good at stairwells, you think to yourself as you begin the descent. 25 minutes later, you arrive at platform Z36A. There's a mass of people fighting and clawing to get on the train with each new car's arrival in continuous 60-second intervals. Between each interval, people in the front row are shoved onto the tracks and crushed by the next car. Stay in the middle, you whisper, to calm yourself while pushing into the next wave of bodies. As you barely make it in, the door crushes the hands of the young woman behind you trying to grasp onto your jumpsuit before she falls screaming down into the blood marsh track line. The smell of fear and PCP smoke intermingle as adverts blare on all walls of the train. IS Insurance is among the ads. You feel safe knowing you're in their hands. 2 minutes later, you arrive at work. Scanning in at the front desk system alerts security you are to report directly to HR for briefing. You are escorted by ISS security drones to HR in the Hive subbasement level 33BJ. It is unbearably cold down there. Shivering, you are seated in front of ISHR unit 33BJX. His red eyes glare at you, electrically dilating several times. Beep. You have been found in violation of Uniform Policy 239C. Explain. Teeth chattering, you stammer. There's just no way to clean the breeding grates without getting it on you. False, he cuts you off. Exhibit 33BJX-A-66. On the monitor, he shows you a picture of a clean and smiling employee holding a company umbrella. You stutter. You denied my request for a company umbrella. Before you can finish, you are jettisoned through your chair into a trapdoor and flushed through the building's septic release system, choking on raw sewage as you lose consciousness. You wake up in the city's harbor beneath a massive drain pipe on a pile of dead fetuses and fecal matter that have stacked to form a makeshift pyramid. You dry heave for several minutes before mustering the composure to swim to shore. Starving, you crawl out of the harbor through the needle disposal yards and reach the street. Across the street, you see a McDonald's, its warm yellow and red hall advertisements softly glowing through the bulletproof glass. You begin to weep with joy. Entering the front door, you are overwhelmed by the smell of the beef and hash browns as you begin to salivate uncontrollably. Finally reaching the cashier droid, you place your order. 1 hash brown, please. Managing a smile for the first time that week. Beep, we are no longer serving hash browns, sir. Your heart breaks. Just then, the black woman next to you orders 2 hash browns and a large beef, and the droid confirms her order. Confused, you ask, how come she got hashes and I got none? In accordance with IS Intersectionality Law Z666WM. Hash browns will be rationed according to government-recommended citizen need profiles. A flood of anger overcomes you. Your IS node should have activated self-policement protocols to inject sedative to your neural cortex, but it must have been damaged in the sewer line. Pounding your fist on the counter, you scream, "I demand hash." Calmly and without reserve, the young black woman reaches over and lovingly places her soft, clean hand on your shoulder. The sensation of human touch immediately subsides your anger. A wave of calm ridges over you. Teary-eyed, you look up, and your eyes lock together. Just then, without breaking eye contact, she stabs you in the stomach, driving the shank into your liver. Crippling pain sends you to the floor. The last thing you remember before losing consciousness is the young black woman reaching into your pocket and taking your wallet. Everything fades to black. You wake up in the gutter outside McDonald's. The rats seem disgusted by the smell coming from you and keep their distance. If not for their reservation, you might have been able to catch one for breakfast. While this plays out in your mind, you look up and see the service droid talking to IS officers. The same officers from that very morning. Just then, the droid points at you. You panic, but something strange happens. Your IS node does not activate panic response protocols. It does nothing. The officers see your panic and the female officer immediately yells, "We gotta disconnect," while firing automatic incendiary rounds towards you. Thankfully, your IS node officer assisted trajectory system is down and the rounds immolate the skulls of the bystanders around you. Panicked, you follow the rats into the alley. Looks like we're on the same side after all, my little friends, you think aloud. Incendiary rounds ricocheting behind, the rats lead you through a complex labyrinth of garbage, pipes, and street shacks. As luck would have it, you emerge from the rubble in the impound yard and see your car sitting in a line of others just like it. The entire impound yard is automated and you find no resistance driving out of the lot. Arriving at your apartment complex, you park on top of a homeless man sleeping under a tarp. His scream is muffled by the faded blue plastic now encasing his body. No one notices. 40 minutes later, you arrive at your apartment. You go to your son's room, open the door, and find his lifeless body hanging from a belt attached to the ceiling fan. On the monitor, you see a crowded room of Chinese businessmen cheering, pleasuring themselves, and throwing money at the screen. You feel nothing and walk out of the room. Turning on the telly, you see an advert for IS Insurance. The Israel flag waving in the wind. "You're in good hands," flashes across the screen. You see those words, and the first time in your life, you feel a tinge of doubt. The end.